Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the TAPED podcast, the most bollocks podcast in the world. We are your hosts, myself, MickyT.
And me, Nostalgia.
And welcome to a new edition of our worst to bests. Today we're going to be doing a discography that is, pretty lengthy, spanning a whole day, And with that in mind, we're going to be doing a worst to best on the Sex Pistols.
Woohoo!
Big hype for that. They've got pretty lengthy discography. I'm so excited to go through every single album that they've made. It's going to be amazing. Really, we really have. We've been waiting for this one for ages. I'm very excited to get through it. So, I think enough waffling. I think we should just get right into it. What do you think, Nostalgia?
Mm-hmm. Let's go.
All right.
I want to be here all day.
At our number one spot, what I think is the Sex Pistols' worst album is... Hot take. It's Nevermind the Bollocks. Here's the Sex Pistols.
My number one spot, which I think is the Sex Pistols' best album, is also Nevermind the Bollocks. Here's the Sex Pistols. So...
Whoa, that's a hot take. Holy shit, man. Whoa.
So your least favorite is my favorite.
Wow, it's so strange. What a weird discography the Sex Pistols have.
Yeah, I mean, do you want to explain yourself?
Yeah, I feel like I should. With that in mind, though, I think that Nevermind the Bollocks is a pretty great album, anyway. Even if it is my worst, pick. Much like albums like the self-titled debuts from The Ramones and The Clash, Nevermind the Bollocks, Here's the Sex Pistols is just simply fun punk music that has some classic punk tracks under its name and has a huge significance to the punk genre, especially in the UK scene because, their image basically exploded and basically they're what we perceive as punk, especially when you look at the fucking whole aesthetic of punk, traditional punk, say. I feel like where this album loses me is towards the end because I do feel like it does get a little bit tiresome, especially with Johnny Rotten's vocals. I feel like I do think that the Ramones and the Clash are better, so I'd rather listen to them over the Sex Pistols. But besides that, I think that Nevermind the Bollocks is a pretty great album. It has some great elements to it. It has attitude, it has catchiness, it has some iconic tracks, the riffage is there, the energy is there, and in general, it's definitive punk music, in a way. It's what you'd expect punk music to sound like, but it's great punk music, in my opinion. And it pains me to put it as their worst album, but it is what it is.
And I mean, even though you put it as their worst album, I put it as their best. I mean, I do kind of agree with a lot of what you said. When I think of punk rock, this is probably the first album that comes to mind for me. It's a staple of the genre, just like Master of Puppets is to thrash metal, or Nevermind is to grunge. It's hard not to see why the band attracted so much attention and why they ruffled so many feathers when this album first dropped, because at the time there wasn't really many acts like the Sex Pistols, at least not in the public eye. And while looking back at this album and punk rock and this state of the genre since, it's 50 years later, it's apparent that the genre, its many subgenres and music at large have expanded so much that Nevermind the Bollocks, certainly wouldn't be a standout album if not for its history and if not for, what this album meant to the founding years of the genre. But, looking back, it's certainly a great album nonetheless. And it's got just plethora of classics, track after track here are just fun, they're energetic, the energy and the attitude of the band is just unmatched, and this project at the end of the day is just pure unfiltered chaos and fun. And while I admit it isn't perfect and it has been outshined over the years, it's still one that I always have a great time when I return to, and one that has kind of become a rite of passage for up and coming punk fans, and it's also an important part of music history. I do kind of see why some people don't really, enjoy it as much, especially considering, punk has progressed as a genre a lot since 1977, my bad. But, for what it is, it's a brilliant album.
Yeah, I can agree. I think it's really great. So,
Yeah.
moving on to best to worst tracks. My favourite tracks are Holidays in the Sun, Liar, No Feelings, God Save the Queen, Anarchy in the UK, Problems, Pretty Vacant, and EMI. My least favourite track is New York.
My favorite tracks are Holidays in the Sun, Bodies, No Feelings, Liar, God Save the Queen, Anarchy in the UK, Pretty Vacant. In EMI, my least favorite track is Submission.
And yeah, with that in mind, we did it. We ranked every single Sex Pistols album. That was a pretty agreeable list, if I do say so myself.
I mean, if anyone has any differing opinions, please let us know. We'd love to hear.
Yeah, please let us know what your favourite Sex Pistols album is down below.
If you agree with us, also let us know,
Yeah, exactly. And with that in mind, thanks so much for checking out today's episode of the Taped Podcast. We really hope that you enjoyed. What is your favourite Sex Pistols album? What is your least favourite Sex Pistols album? Who did you agree with the most in this ranking? And as always, necessary links to our Album of the Year and Rate Your Music pages will be in the description, as well as our individual channels. And yeah, with that in mind, my name's been MickyT.
I'm Nostalgia.
See you!
Bye!